Evan Carter had never thought that a quiet day on Orion Outpost could turn into the kind of chaos that made hearts pound and palms sweat. He worked as an engineer, mostly fixing power conduits and checking machinery, and life had been simple. The outpost was far from the main human colonies, a small cluster of buildings and research modules floating above a dusty orange planet. Most of the time, the biggest problem Evan faced was a stuck reactor or a broken comm line. But today was different. Something dangerous had arrived. It began with a warning alarm, sharp and piercing. Red lights flashed across the corridors, and the loudspeaker crackled with urgent messages in a monotone voice. Alert! Alert! Unauthorized ship detected. All personnel move to safety zones immediately. Evan froze for a moment, staring at the red lights, then realized he needed to act. He had always told himself that panic was useless, and now he had to prove it. He ran down the narrow corridor, his boots echoing against the metal floor. Around him, people were rushing too, carrying datapads, small children, and supplies. In one corner, a group of scientists struggled to lift a heavy crate of equipment. Evan helped push it aside, not caring if it was his job or not. Every second mattered. The alarm blared again, louder this time, and the floor trembled. A distant explosion shook the building, sending dust and sparks into the air. Evan could hear shouting, the sound of metal groaning under pressure, and something worse, the screech of weapons being fired. Raiders. He had read about them in reports, but now they were real, and they were inside his home. He turned a corner and saw them. 3 raiders, humanoid in shape but with strange armor and glowing eyes, were firing at security drones. The drones were doing their best, but there were too many enemies. Evan ducked behind a support beam, heart racing, and tried to think. He had no weapon, no plan, and no reinforcements. Just him. Then he saw something that made his blood freeze. A small figure, no bigger than a child, was caught in the open. The raiders had not noticed it yet, but the child was moving too slowly, tripping over debris. Evan didn't think. His body moved before his mind could catch up. He grabbed a metal rod from the floor and ran toward the child. "Hey, get down!" he shouted, but the child didn't hear him. One of the raiders had noticed the movement and turned. Evan felt a sharp pain as the raider fired. He threw himself in front of the child, blocking the shot. Sparks flew off the metal rod, and he tumbled backward. The child cried out but scrambled behind him. Safe, for the moment. Evan tried to stand, his side burning where he had been grazed, but the raider advanced again. He saw 5 knives strapped to the raider's belt, glinting under the red lights. Without thinking, he lunged, swinging the rod to knock the first knife away. The raider staggered but wasn't stopped. Evan ducked and rolled, grabbing a loose piece of piping. He swung again, hitting the second knife out of the raider's hand. Then chaos exploded. A wall panel fell, sending sparks into the air, and another raider appeared behind him. Evan felt a sharp slash across his arm, pain blooming like fire. He gritted his teeth and continued, throwing the piping at the third knife. Somehow, he managed to knock it out of the raider's grasp. The child screamed and ran to a safer corner, hidden from view. Evan counted the knives he had neutralized 5. 5 knives, and he had saved the child. Finally, the raiders were distracted by incoming security drones. They fled through a side corridor, disappearing into the shadows. Evan sank to the floor, coughing and clutching his wounds. Blood dripped from his arm, and his side burned with every breath. The child came running to him, small hands clutching at his sleeve. "Are you okay?" Evan asked, though he could feel the pain making it hard to speak. The child nodded, but couldn't answer. Tears streaked their face, and they clung to Evan like he was the only thing keeping them safe in the world. Evan tried to smile. "It's okay. You're safe now," he whispered. He heard footsteps then. And at first, He thought it was more raiders, but the steps were soft, deliberate, not the clanking of armor or weapons. When he looked up, he saw tall figures approaching, covered in smooth, metallic-looking suits that reflected the dim lights. Their eyes were strange, glowing softly, and their movements were calm, almost gentle. One of them knelt beside him, speaking in a voice that sounded musical and low, almost like a song. "Human, do not fear. We mean no harm," the figure said. Evan blinked. He could barely hear the words over his pounding heart. "You saved her," the being continued, nodding toward the child. "You have protected the royal line." Evan's mouth opened, but no sound came. He tried to stand, but the pain was too strong. The last thing he remembered was feeling himself being lifted by strong arms, warm and strangely soft under the metal of the alien suits. Then, everything went black. He woke in a different place. The room was dim, glowing in blue light. The walls were smooth, like living skin, and the air smelled sweet and clean. He was lying on a bed of some soft, gel-like material that seemed to move gently around him. His wounds were gone, replaced by a mild tingling sensation that made him shiver. He sat up slowly, looking around in awe. A door opened, and a female figure entered. She was taller than any human, with skin that shimmered slightly in the light and eyes that glowed faintly. She walked gracefully toward him and spoke. "You are awake," she said softly. "I am Lyra, the healer. You have done a brave thing, human. You saved the child. And for that, the Queen wishes to meet you." Evan tried to speak, but his throat was dry. "The child?" he asked. "Yes," Lyra replied. "The child is our princess. You saved her life. Many would not have risked themselves. You did. That is why you are here." Evan's mind raced. An alien child? A princess? And he was the one who had saved her? He could barely believe it. Everything that had happened in the outpost, the alarms, the explosions, the knives, suddenly felt like a dream. Lyra guided him to sit more comfortably, her presence calm and reassuring. "You are safe now. The raiders will not return. The Queen wishes to speak with you when you are ready." Evan tried to imagine what it would be like to meet an alien queen. He had seen humans meet kings and presidents, but nothing like this. He felt small, almost foolish, for being chosen to stand in front of someone so powerful. But at the same time, a strange warmth spread through him. Maybe this was more than luck. Maybe humans could do more than survive. They could earn respect, even from a species that had never trusted them before. He thought of the child, small and scared, and remembered the knives. 5 knives. His hands clenched slightly. It had been terrifying, but he had done it. He had protected someone who could not protect themselves. That simple act had changed everything. Lyra spoke again, breaking his thoughts. "You may rest now, human. The Queen will come when it is right. You will understand why she is here." Evan lay back, closing his eyes. Pain had faded, replaced by a curious energy he did not understand. Outside, somewhere, the world continued. Raiders had attacked, humans had defended. But now he was in a place completely different, surrounded by beings he had never imagined. For the first time in his life, Evan felt that the universe was larger than he had ever known, and he had a role in it. Somewhere in the silence, he heard a soft laugh. Not a human laugh, but musical, sweet, and full of life. He opened his eyes again and saw a small shadow move behind Lyra. The child, the princess. And in that moment, Evan understood that his simple act of courage had set him on a path he could never have imagined. A path that would take him far beyond Orion Outpost, far beyond human understanding, and into the heart of an alien world. Evan Carter closed his eyes again, breathing slowly. He had no idea what awaited him, but for the first time, he was ready. Evan Carter slowly opened his eyes again. The room around him was quiet and calm. The soft blue light made the walls glow like they were alive. The gel bed beneath him seemed to move slightly, almost like it was breathing. He lifted his head carefully, testing his muscles. Everything ached a little, but the deep, sharp pains from the knives were gone. He felt different, stronger, somehow lighter. He sat up fully, looking around the room. It was strange and beautiful. The walls curved smoothly, with no corners or sharp edges. Strange symbols glowed faintly along the floor, moving slowly like waves. There was a gentle hum in the air, a sound that made his mind calm. For a moment, he forgot about the raid, the knives, and the child. All that mattered was that he was alive, and somewhere, the little alien princess was safe. A soft chime echoed through the room, and Evan turned. A figure appeared at the far end. She walked slowly toward him, her movements so smooth and elegant that Evan felt like he was watching a dance. Her skin shimmered in a pale gold, her eyes glowed faintly green, and her long fingers moved with perfect grace. Evan realized she was not just beautiful, she was powerful. "You are awake," the figure said, her voice calm and soft. Evan tried to speak, but his throat was dry. He managed to croak, Where am I?" "You are on the Queen's vessel," Lyra replied. "You saved our princess. That is why you are here. The Queen wishes to meet you. But first, you must rest and recover. Your body has been healed, but your spirit is tired." Evan nodded slowly. "The child? She's safe?" "Yes," Lyra said, smiling faintly. "She is safe because of you. You risked your life for one of our kind. That is not common for humans, or any species." Evan felt his stomach tighten. He thought of the knives, the pain, the fear in the child's eyes. "I didn't think," he admitted. "I just ran. I didn't want her to die." Lyra's eyes softened. "That is courage. That is wisdom. That is something we respect." She paused. "The Queen will see you soon. But now, you may sit and learn a little of who we are." Evan followed Lyra as she guided him through a long corridor. The walls were smooth and glowing, with lights that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. The floor moved slightly under his feet, soft and alive, but firm enough to walk on. Strange plants grew along the edges, glowing with a faint inner light. Evan had never seen anything like it. "Your species is different," he said quietly. "I've read about aliens, but nothing like this." Lyra chuckled softly. "We have been watching humans for a long time. Many humans are brave, many are reckless, many are kind. You are one of the few who show all three at once. That is why the Queen is interested in you." They arrived at a large chamber. In the center, the walls opened to reveal a soft, golden light. Evan felt warmth spreading through him. Lyra gestured to a seat of living material that seemed to form itself from the floor. Evan sank into the seat, feeling it mold to his body. It was soft, comfortable, and alive. But not in a strange way, just natural. He watched as Lyra moved to a small console and touched glowing symbols with her fingers. The lights on the wall shifted, showing images of planets, ships, and stars he did not recognize. "You saved her life," Lyra said, turning to face him. "Do you know what that means?" Evan shook his head. I saved a child. That's all." "No," Lyra said gently. "You saved the princess. You protected the royal line. Your actions have changed the path of our people. You have earned our respect. Human. Evan felt a weight in his chest. He had never thought of himself as important. He was just a mechanic, a worker. But now, an entire alien species, the Velari, were watching him, and the Queen herself wanted to see him. The thought was frightening, but also strange, exciting. How? Why me? He asked. Why would the Queen care about a human? Because you acted without thought for reward or fame, Lyra explained. You protected one of us simply because it was the right thing to do. That is something rare in the galaxy. Most species act only for survival or power. You showed something different. Evan thought about what she said. Protecting the child had not been a choice. It had been instinct. But instinct, she said, could change the galaxy. That idea made his chest tighten. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes. Evan had lost track of time. He rested, drank something warm from a glowing cup. Lyra offered, and felt strength returning to his body. The strange gel that had healed him now pulsed softly beneath him, almost like it was communicating, though he did not understand how. Finally, Lyra spoke. It is time. The Queen will come. Evan's stomach turned over. He had imagined meeting kings and presidents, but never a being like this. He tried to stand, but the seat gently held him in place. Do I have to bow? Do I? He asked nervously. Lyra smiled softly. The Queen will understand humans. There is no need to fear. You only need to show respect in your way. The doors at the far end of the chamber opened slowly. Light spilled in, soft and golden. Evan felt his heart pound. He saw a figure step forward, taller than any human, taller even than Lyra, with skin that shone like polished metal. Her eyes glowed with green light, and her presence seemed to fill the room. She moved with a grace that made Evan feel small, but not weak. He felt as if he were standing in front of something pure and powerful at the same time. Human, the Queen said, her voice calm and melodic. I am Ralith, ruler of the Velari. You saved my daughter. You risked your life when you did not have to. That is why I am here. Evan's mouth went dry. I didn't want her to die. Ralith studied him for a long moment. Your instinct is rare, she said. Most humans would flee. Most humans would fight for themselves first. You acted for another being, without regard for your own safety. That is what makes you remarkable. Evan swallowed hard. I didn't think about it. I just ran. Sometimes, Ralith said. The simplest actions speak the loudest. Tell me, human, why do your people protect each other? Why do you fight for children, even those not your own? Evan paused. He thought about Orion Outpost, about the alarms, the explosions, and the child's small, frightened face. Because it's right, he said finally. Children, anyone who can't defend themselves, they deserve protection. That's how humans are. That's what we do. Ralith's glowing eyes softened. Then perhaps there is hope for your kind after all. Evan did not know what to say next. He felt tired but alive, afraid but strangely proud. Lyra stepped forward. The princess wishes to see you, she said. She remembers you, and she will not forget. Evan's heart leapt. The child, the one he had saved, was alive and waiting for him. He felt a strange warmth, realizing that his actions had created a connection between him and beings he barely understood. Somehow, he had crossed a barrier, a line between human and alien, and survived. Ralith inclined her head. You will learn our ways, human. You will see our people and understand more than most humans ever could. But first, meet my daughter. Evan followed Lyra to another chamber. Soft light filled the room, and there, standing in the center, was the child. Small, delicate, with shimmering gold skin like her mother, and large green eyes that studied him carefully. She was quiet, but her gaze was full of life, intelligence, and curiosity. "You saved me," the child said simply, her voice soft but clear. Evan smiled weakly. "Yes, I did. Are you okay?" She nodded. "I am okay, because of you." Evan felt a lump in his throat. The knives, the raiders, the fear, they all seemed worth it now. Somehow, protecting this small alien child had changed everything. He realized that this moment was only the beginning. The universe was bigger than he had ever imagined, and he had already taken his first step into it. Lyra placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You have done more than survive, human. You have earned a place among us, if only for your courage. The Queen sees it, and perhaps the galaxy will, too." 1. Evan Carter looked at the princess, and then at Ralith, and felt a strange sense of purpose fill him. He did not know what would come next, but he understood one thing. His actions, simple as they were, had changed more than just a life. They had changed the path of a species. And for the first time, Evan knew that being human meant more than he had ever believed. Evan Carter stayed close to Lyra as she guided him through the Queen's vessel. Every step felt strange, yet natural. The corridors curved like flowing water, and the walls pulsed with a soft light that seemed alive. He had never seen anything like it before. The floor seemed to hum gently under his feet, and strange glowing plants lined the walls, bending slightly as if to watch him pass. "Where are we going?" Evan asked, trying to keep his voice calm. "To the council chamber," Lyra said. "You will meet the leaders of our people. They wish to honor you, human. But first, you must understand who we are." Evan nodded, feeling nervous and excited at the same time. He had never imagined being respected by an alien species, let alone being called remarkable by a queen. It was both frightening and humbling. As they walked, Lyra explained the Velari culture in simple terms. "We are a species that values life and courage," she said. "Our people are guided by the royal line. The Queen is not just a ruler. She protects the traditions and safety of all Velari. Your actions saved the princess, which is why you are honored." Evan tried to imagine it. He had only acted to protect a child in danger. He had not thought about honor, or tradition, or politics. Yet somehow, this simple act had made him important to a species far older and wiser than humans. They arrived at a large chamber, circular and filled with soft golden light. In the center, figures stood waiting. The council. Some were tall and slender, with skin like polished metal, while others were smaller, with intricate patterns glowing faintly on their bodies. They watched him with quiet curiosity, their eyes focused and calm. "Human," Lyra said, bowing slightly. "These are the elders and leaders of the Velari. They wish to see you for your courage." Evan felt his stomach tighten. He stepped forward carefully. I didn't do anything special," he said quietly. A tall elder with green glowing eyes stepped forward. "Your actions speak louder than words, human," he said. "You risked your life to protect a child, knowing nothing of the consequences. That is courage beyond measure." Evan shook his head. "I didn't think about it. I just did it." The elder smiled softly. "That is exactly why it is remarkable." Evan felt a warmth in his chest. He had never thought of himself as brave or remarkable. He had only done what he felt was right. But these beings, with all their power and wisdom, were honoring him for it. He realized that small acts could change more than he had ever imagined. One of the smaller council members stepped forward. a childlike figure with glowing patterns running across its arms. "The princess remembers you," it said in a soft voice. "She speaks of the human who protected her when the world was full of danger." Evan's heart jumped. The princess had remembered him, even after all the chaos, the knives, the explosions. She had thought of him. He felt a strange sense of connection, a bond that went beyond words or species. "Thank you," he whispered. The council nodded, and then the queen entered. Her presence filled the room like sunlight breaking through clouds. She moved gracefully, her golden skin shimmering, her green eyes bright and full of life. She studied Evan quietly, her gaze both gentle and commanding. "You have done more than survive, human," she said. "You have protected life without expectation. That is a lesson we will remember. Tell me, human, do you understand why this matters?" Evan thought for a moment. I think so," he said. "Children, anyone who can't protect themselves, they deserve protection. That's how humans are. That's what we do." The queen nodded. "Then perhaps your kind has more to offer the galaxy than we believed. Courage and compassion can be stronger than weapons." Evan felt his chest swell with pride and fear. He was just a mechanic, just a human. Yet here, in this alien council, he was teaching a lesson about humanity. It was incredible, almost unbelievable. Lyra guided him to a side chamber after the meeting. The princess, small and delicate, was waiting. She looked at him with wide, curious eyes. "You saved me," she said simply. "Yes," Evan said softly. "I am," she said. Evan knelt down to her level. "I just wanted you to be safe. That's all." She nodded seriously. "Humans are strange," she said. "But good." Evan chuckled. The simplicity of her words, the honesty, made him feel lighter. He realized that this moment, small as it seemed, was meaningful. It was proof that courage and care could cross any barrier, even between species. The queen's voice called from the corridor. "Evan, there is more to see. Come." He followed her and Lyra to a larger hall, filled with strange machinery and glowing panels. Evan saw ships, designs he had never imagined, and technology that seemed alive. Lyra explained some of it in simple terms. "These are our defense ships," she said. "They move with the will of the pilots, and our shields respond to danger automatically." Evan studied the ships, amazed. "This is incredible," he said. "I've worked with human ships, but nothing like this." "The Velari have lived far longer than humans," Lyra said. "Our technology is built with care, not haste. But courage, that is universal. That is why you are important to us." As they walked through the hall, alarms suddenly blared, red lights flashed, and the floor vibrated. Evan's heart raced. "What's happening?" he asked. The queen appeared beside him, calm and composed. "Raiders. They follow the child," she said. "They will try to attack again." Evan swallowed hard. "Another attack? But They will test us," the queen said. "We must be ready. Your people, your technology, combined with ours, we can stop them." Evan realized what she meant. He had already seen the raiders' tactics on Orion Outpost. He understood human defense systems. Maybe he could help the Velari fight them. The queen studied him, her eyes bright. "Then you will stand with us, human. Together, we will protect life." They began to prepare. Evan worked alongside the Velari engineers, showing them the best ways to use human defense strategies with their organic technology. The crew moved quickly, following his instructions. He felt alive in a way he had never known. The fear from the first raid returned, but now it was mixed with purpose. He was no longer just a mechanic, he was part of a team, fighting to protect life across worlds. Hours passed. Finally, everything was ready. The ships took positions, the shields glowed brightly, and the princess watched from a safe observation deck. Evan felt the weight of responsibility pressing down, but he also felt a strange confidence. He had saved a life once. Now, he might save many. The raiders appeared, a small fleet moving fast through the void. Their weapons glinted in the light of distant stars. Evan's heart pounded, but he focused. He gave instructions, coordinated movements, and watched as humans and Velari worked together. Shields flared. Ships dodged. And the raiders realized they faced more than they expected. Evan saw one ship about to be hit by a missile. He shouted directions, and the Velari pilot veered at the last moment, avoiding disaster. Small victories came quickly, and the battle turned in their favor. Evan felt a strange thrill. He was part of something bigger than himself. Finally, the raiders retreated, their fleet scattered. The outpost and the Velari vessels were safe. Evan let out a long breath. Exhausted, but alive. The Queen's voice came over the comm. "You have done well, human. Your courage and guidance have saved many lives today. You honor us." Evan looked at the princess. She smiled, small and shy. "You protected us," she said softly. "I will never forget." Evan smiled back. He realized that simple acts, courage, and care had changed the course of events. Humans, he thought, could do more than survive. They could teach, lead, and inspire even among the stars. For the first time, Evan Carter felt that being human meant something greater than he had ever known. And he knew that this was only the beginning.